All right, folks, we got a banger for you this week. My man Matt Berthot just came in here and dropped some awesome knowledge. I'm really excited about this episode because learned a little bit about Matt and what he did last week when I was at Zach Babcock's ADP live event. Zach invited me to come out and speak to his audience, and it was really cool. It was a nice, small, intimate event. He had about 40 to 50 people there. And to be honest, I love those events that are a bit smaller. You just dive in, have really good, authentic conversations with people. And because of that, I was able to connect with Matt, and we got involved in a conversation afterwards. And long story short, invited the dude on the podcast, did a little bit of social recon on him and learned a little bit about him and his voice coaching and some of the things that he does. And through this episode that you're going to hear today, which I'm super excited about, you're going to learn that Matt is much more than just a voice coach and what it says on his website and how he's actually helping different business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, high-level executives get over some of their fears, but also helping them uncover and discover some of their spirituality and getting them reconnected to energy and spirit. And you guys may not know this about me. That's something that I am totally into. I am a believer. I don't care if you call me woo-woo crazy or not. That's fucking irrelevant to me. But this is stuff that has impacted my life in a very positive manner. And especially now, so I've always been this way, always thought about it, always knew something else was there. But over the last 18 months is when this has really been dialed in for me. And I've picked up on a lot more of it, a lot more intuition, if you would say. And that's just a direct connection to my openness and also willingness to receive energy and also just speaks from my improvement, self-development, continuously improving, evolving myself. And the biggest piece that I realized was missing about a year and a half ago was the spirituality piece for me. And we're going to talk into it a lot here. Matt's going to discuss it as well, but he also connects what he's doing with the spirituality side of things. And we talk about it. We talk a little bit about the science behind it as well. And I'm just really excited for you to get involved in this episode. So with that being said, check this one out. But before that, we've got a couple things here to announce. Number one, Step It Up Live is not happening in August. We actually decided to hold back that event and do a client-only event. I'm actually kind of excited for that because now I get to spend more time with my clients one-to-one. And those are the most important people because those are the people who pay to work with us at Step It Up Academy. If you're interested in doing so, you can either reach out to me on any of the social media platforms, just search my name, Thomas Keenan, or head over to stepitupacademy.com and fill out one of the contact us forms there. We'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you on what it looks like to come in and work with us and step it up. We've got multiple different levels to the coaching mastermind program. We've got group options. We've got one-to-one coaching options. And of course, we still have our infamous on-site assessments. 2 days, we show up, at least two team members. We dive into your business. We poke holes in things. We audit everything that you're doing top to bottom. We document it all. And then we deliver a roadmap to you that says, this is what you need to do over the next 90 days to move forward and or complete your goals. And again, if that's something that you're interested in, which is like a fast track to really get your business moving, especially from the back end operations side, then feel free to reach out and have a conversation with us. Again, stepitupacademy.com. And with that being said, enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome back to the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast. Your host, Thomas Keenan, coming at you with another exciting episode. Got a new dude in the crew here, which is pretty awesome. Up until, I think, a week ago, I had never bumped into this guy, had a conversation with him, had no idea who he was or where he was from. But when people start hanging around your circles that you're already infiltrated in or involved in, and someone says, hey, that guy over there is a good dude, you should probably connect with him, and it's someone who I respect, I tend to say, okay, cool, I'll just shut up and go after it. And we got Matthew Berthot on the show today. Matthew, I'm the same way, dude. People call me Tom, Thomas, Tomas.
You did great, Thomas.
Good. I'm easy with a name. My rule is as long as you don't call me asshole, I'm okay with it.
I'm not going to call you asshole.
That's fair. I appreciate that. But you and I met last week. We were both at Zach Babcock's event, and Zach's been on this show a whole bunch of times. You know, he's a good, solid dude. Him and I have been working with each other for years. We've been working as coaches for each other for probably 4 years at this point.
Man,
which is pretty cool. And you showed up at the event. We chatted a little bit before the event kicked off, and I even actually the night before we had a little get together dinner. The event starts, and I thought it was really cool of Zach, right? Because I mean, if you saw the tattoos on my arm, I kind of believe in the country a little bit, and I got American flags and past presidents and the Statue of Liberty on me.
Who's your favorite president?
I got George Washington on me.
That's badass.
Yeah, permanently.
What about Teddy?
I do like Teddy a lot. I really do.
He's
I
one of my
really did.
favorites of all time.
Yeah, and what a tough son of a bitch too. I mean, the dude took a bullet and kept going.
Ah, that's one of
Yeah,
my favorite stories ever.
yeah, he's a solid dude for sure.
So anyway, sorry, I
Yeah,
cut
so
you
we
off.
go to this event, and I meet you the night before. I meet you the day of the event. We exchange some pleasantries back and forth, and I stand up because it's like, oh, the national anthem's going to get played, and all of a sudden there's this dude. I'm like, oh, I know that guy, and this dude's belting out the national anthem like he's a pro.
Yeah,
Well, it turns out you are.
yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I've been singing. Well, I'll do the short version of the long.
yeah.
I grew up in a very small town, and Ark City, Kansas is what we call it. If you look at it on the map, it says Arkansas City. We call it Arkansas City because we're Kansas, and it's very extra of them to be that way.
Hmm.
But I grew up as a three-sport athlete. I was on a four-time state champion wrestling team. I was a state champion wrestler myself, played football, baseball, and, grew up, I mean, really in the 90s and the 80s, living the dream. The kids not right now, they don't have that. They don't have anything remotely like what we had.
Yeah.
We were very blessed to grow up in the 80s and 90s.
Hmm.
And our parents came to our stuff.
They did.
They traveled with us. They went everywhere with us. What's funny is I didn't start working on my voice until middle of my junior year of high school, when this girl broke my heart,
Hmm.
and I dated her for 2.5 years. What a waste of time that was. And Bob Tessman, my counselor, he was meeting with me. At the time I didn't know that I was depressed and sad. I mean, nobody talked about that then. And Bob said, "Matt, what do you love?" And I said, "I love Kylie." He said, "No, what do you love? More than anything in the world, what do you love?" I said, "I like helping people. I like seeing people happy." "Okay. Well, what are you doing? What do you do that no one really knows about?"
Mm.
And, I think about this. I'm like, did my mom talk to him at some point? I wonder if she did. But I need to ask her that, actually. I've never asked her. But he said, "What do you love to do?" And I said, "Oh, I like to sing a little bit. I
Mm.
sing in my car, I sing in the shower." He goes, "Okay, we're going to enroll you in choir." I was
Mm.
like, "What?
Yeah.
Me? Like jock boy gonna join choir?" And so I went in there.
It's like American Pie, bro.
Yeah, I thought I was hot shit, man. Like, I was like, I'm this guy, I'm this wrestler stud, and I'm in this choir. And I didn't know how to sing, man. I thought I did. I listened to Garth Brooks and Bon Jovi and Boys to Men,
Hmm.
and, a little bit of Dre and Snoop. And that was, I mean, I had a wide variety of things that I'd listen to. But choir music, I had no idea. I
Yeah.
played the drums. I knew rhythm.
Hmm.
And so, I joined choir, and then I was like, I really like this. And I hate that I'm not good at it right now. Like, I suck. This is terrible.
Mm.
I got made fun of all the time. I used to sing with my nose, and it was real nasal, and it sounded like, think
Hmm.
about, you're 10 miles from the Oklahoma border. You're going to have an accent. You're going to talk a little bit like this and have a little bit mumble mouth. "Oh, say, can you see?" I mean,
Hmm.
I thought I was hot shit, and I was not. I didn't know
Mm.
how to read music. I didn't know how to play piano. I
Mm.
didn't know anything about the voice at all.
Yeah.
So, just like anybody that wants to learn something, you dive in, right? And
Mhm.
so, senior year, I was in choir again. I made their little group, and I started taking my first voice lessons. And I started taking from people that I liked their voice. And so I would just ask, "Hey, will you give me a voice lesson? Hey, will you give me a voice lesson?" Well, long story real short, that's what I went to college for. I started music ed, vocal emphasis, and I was going to be a teacher. And then I was like, this is too hard. I can't read music. I failed music theory like 2 times.
Mhm.
Um, Again, this ego of me being a good athlete would always get me in trouble because, you know, I didn't think about it. I wrestled since I was 6 years old. That's why I was great at it at
Yeah.
18, right? So I, dove in, and I got, my first F in college. I got another F in college, and I was like, "I'm gonna change my major. I'm gonna do vocal performance. I'm gonna sing because I started getting better at singing.
Mm,
And then we got to foreign language, and I was like, nope, I'm
mm,
quit that. I'm not gonna do that. And then I went to religion. I was a religion major for a year. I was going to be a pastor.
mm,
Well, that was a whole, big giant mess. I got to find out the internal of what actually happens in churches behind the closed doors. And I
mm,
was like, man, this ain't for me. And so in the United States, there's a group called Boys State. And I got to go to Boys State as a junior in high school, and I was a counselor, and I got to kind of go up the ranks, and then eventually I got to be a county counselor. And at that time, there were going to be 90 gonna be seniors in high school that I were going to be in charge of,
yeah.
and we killed it like every year for 3 years in a row. I had all these county counselors, these other 9 county counselors coming up to me because I was in charge of myself. I was in charge of a team
Mhm,
of people that were in charge of subsections of the county. And then I was in charge of the county as a whole. I'd give the speeches, I'd get them fired up. One of the things that I used to say is there's no ceiling on your potential. You're supposed to be the best in the world. Prove it.
mhm,
Prove it. Don't prove it to me. Prove it to yourself. And so this message started building in me,
mhm,
and these kids started doing crazy, crazy things that no one could be like. Everyone was like, how are you getting them to have perfect projects? How are you getting them to outperform everybody else at this thing?
mm,
To the point, my third year being a county counselor, they said, you're done. Because everybody was like, this is ridiculous that Berthot's county just dominates all the time. And that was my nod to be like, okay, you got to go back to teaching.
yeah.
You got to go back to teaching.
But let me hold on to that. Let's touch on that for a second.
All right.
Okay. Because I know you're in the art circle. I've seen the logos all over your stuff.
Yep.
And I think Mr. Andy Frisella himself would have something to say about this as well.
Okay.
So you were doing really fucking good at something. And
Yep.
society said, hey, bro, you got to hit the brakes because you're doing too good. Like, oh, it hurts me inside bad.
Yeah. That, I mean, well, I got more on that in a bit. Yeah. Thanks for recognizing that. That's it's a common theme in the world,
It is.
and it's very sad that we don't let people's souls shine the way they're supposed to shine. We want everybody's souls to be the same, and they're
Mm,
not. They're
average.
just not.
Yeah. So let me share this with you real quick
Yeah.
because
Go.
you don't know that much about me at this point. Like I spoke on stage in front of you for about an hour. We had a couple conversations. We maybe have less than 2 hours of actual interaction at this point.
Yeah.
I'm really big on core values, right?
Mm,
And my book that I wrote is heavily in and around core values. And for me personally, one of the top ones that I've lived by and has kind of been the guiding light, the guiding principles for me is this one right here, and it's I refuse to be average.
mm, yeah.
And several times in my life, I've had to make some extremely difficult decisions. And here's the messed up part, man. When you realize that you are living in that averageness, and if you're true to your values, which I hope you are, right? And I'm not saying you, I'm saying all of us,
Right. Right. Right.
right? If you're true to your values, you have to make the tough decisions to stay true to your values.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is you intentionally removing yourself from situations, from people, from groups, from associating with X, Y, and Z. It also forces you to get rid of the good in order to make room for the great.
Wow. Well, again, you're gonna love where we're going with this.
Let's hear it.
Um, so I went back to my advisor, Dr. Taylor,
Mhm.
who was not the nicest person to me in college because I basically said, F you, take this trombone and shove it up your ass. Like I'm done with music ed forever. And then I had to go back and kiss his ass and be like, okay, I was really wrong. I'm supposed to be a teacher. And he said, you have to write an essay of why we should even let you back in the program. And you
Mhm.
have to pass math for liberal arts with a C or better. And I was like, okay, deal. So I did, and I graduated. It only took me 6.5 years, though, right? Like it took me a long time. And so I applied at the place that I could coach wrestling. I could coach football. It was a 5A school. I only applied one place. That's what I got.
Mhm.
I was there for 19 years, Thomas. In those 19 years, I was up for Grammy Teacher of the Year. I was a quarterfinalist. I was Teacher of the Year. I was up for Teacher of the Year of the state of Kansas. I got to present in London. about performance magic in 2019.
Hmm.
I joined the RTA Syndicate in 2019, and my life turned upside down
Yeah, it did.
because my chiropractor at the time, Doug Swanson, in January of 2019, because I lost like a lot of weight. So imagine going like wrestler, 172 pounds, state champion,
Hmm.
to quitting sports completely cold turkey as a college student.
Hmm.
And you know how much I love food because
Hmm.
wrestlers, we love food. All
Yep.
right. I gained 100 pounds,
Yeah.
Thomas. I
Yeah.
weighed 272 when I started teaching.
Yep. And how tall are you?
5'9",
Okay.
5'8".
Got
Yeah.
it.
It was not a good situation.
Yeah, you're a big boy.
Yeah, I was big. I was
Hmm.
real big.
Hmm.
And so when I turned 40, is so cliche. January 1st, I'm outside, it's snowing outside. I yelled at God out loud with my voice. I said, God, I want my health back. And then about 2 weeks later, this guy challenged me in Wichita, a fellow choir teacher.
Hmm.
And he was like, all right, let's see who can get under 200 pounds first. And at that time, I was like 230, somewhere like that. Because I've been running, I've been running every day at least 1 mile for the last 11 and a half years
Oh wow.
straight, consecutive, because I know what my health means to me now.
Hmm.
So this was going to be another level, and I knew I needed something to figure it out. Anyway, long story short, I found the elimination diet. I took all food sensitivities out. I lost 60 pounds in like 6 months. Obviously destroyed him. He had no chance.
Hmm.
And then I got to play Stacey Jackson Rock of Ages that summer as a freaking 80s rocker. I think I weighed 159 at one point, bro. Like I had the white skinny jeans on with the mesh shirt, bro. I had the hair. I mean, it was awesome. It was like the coolest part ever. But it made me realize, wow, I got a lot of growth to do still. And so at that time, I was working with the instill voice training model, which is what I coach all of my business professionals with.
Hmm.
It's making these silly sounds like e ah oo eow 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 meow meow. So these exercises help train the internal structure of our throat, just like you would go to the gym to work out.
Hmm.
These exercises help the internal structures of our throat get stronger because our vocal folds are the size of our fingernails. They sit right here. So I worked on that from 38 to now. And that was another growth thing that I was like, oh, I can grow even at 38 years old. I can still grow. This is cool. So at 40, my life changed. January, same idea. Doug Swanson goes, hey, I think you need to listen to Ed Milet. Do you know who that is? I was like, I have no idea who.
Yeah, no idea. But I'll find out.
Yeah, yeah. He goes, you need to listen to Andy Frisella, the MFCEO project. I said, okay, fine, I'll listen to him. And I started listening to these guys talk,
Hmm.
Thomas, and I was like, I really like what they're saying, and I like how it makes me feel.
Hmm.
I feel like these are my people. Like this is really cool. I love what's happening right now. And then they opened it up to RTA Syndicate. And I was like, Andrea, we just had a car payment go up. I want to be around more people like me.
Hmm.
Like I want to be around more people like me because I was doing private voice lessons for 20 years,
Yeah.
and it was just like this side job, this side
Hmm.
hustle, right? And then I joined RTA Syndicate. I go to my first RTA Live in St. Louis, which was crazy. That's where we just were.
Yep.
Stephanie Van Dam turns around. She was following me because we were all doing 75 hard at that time. Because
Hmm.
Andy was like, none of you MFers are going to finish this shit. And I was like, game on. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
And then I started reading books.
Hmm.
I read Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza.
Great book.
And in that book, it says energy is frequency. Frequency carries information.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah, being the music guy, you understand frequency.
I know this. I know this. I've taught this. And so, quick story 2013, I was in a private voice lesson with Mariah Warren. She was
Mhm.
a student and she's really great. She was singing At Last by Etta James. At last, my love. And I was like, Mariah, we're going to do something really weird. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to
Mhm.
feel an extraordinary amount of love. This
Mhm.
was 2013. I didn't know anything about Dispenza. I knew something was here though.
Mhm.
And so she felt this love. And I said, "What do you love more than anything in the world?" She said, "My mom." I said, "Perfect. Feel that love for her. When you feel it, I'm going to feel it." That's what I said. I said, "Okay." I was just going with my instinct. "Keep your eyes closed, Mariah, and visualize a scene.
Mm.
Inside, outside, day, night, who's there? All right. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I'm going to play the piano. We're going to do this work." And so she opened her eyes, Thomas, and she started singing. And I felt it,
Mhm.
obviously. But something really strange happened. I started seeing these visions in my head that were not mine.
Mhm.
And I stopped her and I go, "Mariah, I'm going to say something kind of crazy probably. Were you outside on a green grass hill with flowers to your left and a tree to your right, like
Mhm.
a picnic situation? And
Mhm.
it's like really nice and beautiful and sunny outside, blue skies." And she goes, "Yeah, Bertho. How do you know that?" And I was like, "I have no idea. I
Yeah.
have no clue." And so for a whole summer with my students, we went back and forth, back and forth. And there were some that were very prone to getting into that fast, and then some that were like, "What are we doing? I have no idea what's going on." So I got a little freaked out and I just trashed it because I was like, "Man, they're gonna run me out of town. This is crazy." And then in 2019, I was sitting in my living room reading the book, underlining all the stuff, and I read that paragraph. Energy is frequency, frequency carries information. I was like, "Holy shit.
Yeah. I just experienced that.
I know this. I know it and I could teach it."
Mhm.
And so I started talking to all my students about it again because I was going to go present in London at King's College
Mhm.
about performance magic because my mentor Kim Steinhauer saw that gift in me.
Mhm.
She was like, "You're magic." Joe Estel created the craft and it's all researched, great. Artistry, people know how to use the medium. They're, actors and storytellers, and that's easy. But magic, no one researched that, Matt.
Mhm.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the guy. You're the guy to carry that torch. I was like, "Okay."
Mm.
So I read that book and it gets real dense middle to the end. Like it gets
Sure.
real, real complicated. And so I read it and I was talking to my buddy Sean after a CrossFit workout. This is how this always works.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Sean, I don't have like steps. I don't have steps to get people into this state, to get them to that feeling where people
Mhm.
can feel what we want them to feel and see what we want them to see."
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, it's like God, the universe went boop, get in a meditative state, build your energy, visualize a scene,
Can I stop you
action.
there for a second?
Yeah.
You know why it came to you after the CrossFit workout?
No.
Okay. Jim Quick talks about this often. And for me, I've gotten it after the workout, which sometimes I get it in the car ride home after the gym. But the most impactful time for me is the shower after the gym.
Wow.
So I call them shower thoughts and I love them.
I love the shower thoughts. I
Yeah.
love that.
So the science behind it is that our brains enter a theta state, which is a meditative state after this intense physical workout. And also, even if you don't work out, if you go into a shower, you spend enough time there, you let the water hit in certain areas of your body. If you know anything about energy work and whatnot, there's 7 chakras in the body. You can let the
Mhm.
water hit your throat chakra here. All of this stuff kicks things off and puts your brain into a theta state, which is basically you in a meditative state, which allows you to open up and receive more energy from the universe.
Thomas, this is amazing. I
Yeah.
love this conversation so much.
See, a lot of people are going to hear this and be like, man, I didn't know Keenan had that woo woo shit in him.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do, right? And that's what I'm trying to teach people is that our soul wants to express itself, all right? And I had this thought coming back from Portugal. I left my headphones in Portugal
Mhm.
and I was like so irritated because you know me now. Like I put my headphones in, I put my Dispenza meditation on, and I'm in.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that. So I put on Interstellar, the movie, and I started taking notes. But I had this thought. And this is what I'm gonna teach. This is what the book's gonna be about eventually, right? Our soul, our spirit wants to express itself.
Mhm.
And we have this short amount of time on earth in this flesh suit, this meat suit, right? And sometimes we don't take care of our bodies the way that we should and our minds. And we don't spend time with ourselves the way that we should, the way that our spirit and our soul wants us to. All right. So when I started doing this work, this energy that I feel, I would only feel it when I would get into a meditative state, right? Obviously, I'm doing work. I'm sitting with myself. I'm doing breathing, activating the pineal gland, etc.
Mhm.
Right. So what I noticed is when I started getting disciplined with my routine, with Wim Hof, with the breathing, with the meditation, with the workouts, with the reading, with the journaling in the morning, all in the morning,
Mhm.
I noticed something 5, 6 years ago. I'm always on.
Mhm.
The energy's always on. People feel it
Yeah.
all the time now. It's not like I have to activate anything. But when I came up with those steps, Thomas, and I had to go to London, my first keynote speech in the world
Mhm.
is in King's College in London in front of all the vocal nerds of the world. All right. My crew, the Estel voice training models, they're from Spain, Argentina, China, Russia, Australia, New Zealand, and then Matt Berthot from USA, Kansas, with a bunch of little high school kids and their parents and
Mhm.
alumni coming to do a presentation on the closing night Saturday about performance magic.
Mm. That's awesome.
And so I did, and I presented it, and I
Mhm.
got everybody to do breathing with me. I took them through my whole intention steps, is what I call them. And at the end, people cried, people stood up, people clapped, and there were skeptics.
Mm.
There always will be, right? But the people that mattered, my mentor, Kim, and then another lady, they were very gracious because Kim is Joe Estel's protege,
Mhm.
and she knows what she told me. Matt, you're the magic guy. You're gonna talk about the magic of the voice,
Yeah.
right? So in 2019, I did that. I started coaching Nathan Mansfield. He was my first CEO client.
Mhm.
He couldn't speak in front of his team, and,
Yeah.
and he get self conscious. What I realized, as you know, as a coach, my vehicle was the voice and helping people find their voice, keep their voice, share their voice, connect their voice. But what I realized as a teacher, as a coach, is I'm much more than just voice.
Yeah.
I started helping him with his routine, started talking about meditation, started talking about cold water therapy, started talking about exercise, all these things that
Yeah.
I had the benefit of growing with.
Sure. Because that's what helped dial you in.
And then he started to become whole.
Mhm.
And then his spirit started to come out. And then I started coaching other business professionals. And the rest is history. Now, I had one foot in this, like a literal foot,
Mhm.
and the rest of me was in public school,
Mm.
all right, as a choir teacher. And so what I would do is I would take my 8 to 3:30, and then after school I would coach business professionals and my students that still want to take voice lessons, right?
Mhm.
And everything started growing. But then you're going to love this, Thomas. In 2019 towards the end, I got slapped.
Mm.
And I started feeling what you talked about. Some of my colleagues, some of my friends started being like, "Oh, Bertho's making a little bit of money.
Mm.
What's going on? What's going on?" And then the next year, harder. Bertho, you can't say that. Like you can't say that the way you said it. And then COVID happened.
Mhm.
And then they took away my people, my passion, my love, the kids. I didn't
Yeah.
get to be in front of them anymore.
Mhm.
I'd get on these Zoom calls or these, Google Meets, and the kids didn't have to show up.
Yeah.
They didn't have to show up wearing masks on the freaking Zoom meets, bro.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is going on?
Yeah.
I
Crazy.
can't be with my people. I can't go anywhere. They
Mhm.
can't come over for a lesson."
Yeah.
And so I started to get hurt. And
Mhm.
and and so I started getting depressed. I started getting sad. And so my business clients started to go away.
Mhm.
My dad then passed away in June 2020, and that wrecked me.
Yeah.
I wake up, I put my phone on airplane mode. I wake up to this bombardment of text and messages, and I do my routine. I
Yep.
I do my meditation, do my breathing, do my cold bath. I do
Mhm.
my workout. I'm crying. It's raining outside, just like it was today, and I have to drive down to Texas. And a week before that, yep, let's do it. A week
Mhm.
before that, my brother, Luke, said, "Matt, let's go fishing with dad at Grand Lake,
Mm.
just like we used to when we were little. So when I was little, I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. We went to fish at the cow pond at the Reinhardt's milk farm, right? And I had my Snoopy fishing pole and the little bobber, and it started storming.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, I see the bobber go poof, and I'm like, Dad, I caught a shark. I caught a shark. And so he comes over, he puts his arms around me, he helps me get it in. It's like a 4-foot moss carp, man. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But that was like a huge moment in my childhood.
Mhm.
And so fast forward to that moment, I'm like, nah, Luke, fishing's not my thing anymore.
Mm.
And so June 19th happened, 2020. My dad passes away at 3 p.m. I got to say my goodbyes.
Yeah.
And then I felt literally the circle of life. I'm driving and I feel his energy recycle in me, but
Mm.
also there's a lot that goes with that too. We can talk about another time.
Yeah.
Um, but my mom had 3 funerals for my dad. One in Texas, one in Chanute, one in Arc City. And I
Mm.
had to sing at every single one of them. And I had to talk at every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I was doing a meditation with Nathan on his porch in San Antonio. I had to go to the funeral the next day. And I dropped in, did the Wim Hof, got a 4-minute breath hold. I never had that happen before. And I
Mm.
dropped into the most deep meditation in my space that I've ever felt. And in my space, there's green grass, there's a tree over to the left. Sometimes it's blooming, and then there's ocean and there's a beach.
Mhm.
And since my dad passed, Thomas, he
Mm.
was fishing on the edge of the ocean. And every time I went into that meditation space, and this was no exception,
Yeah.
he's over there fishing. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna become the superhero version of me right now. Like I'm gonna
Mm.
light this up, and like I feel on fire. Well, then in the vision, he's standing over me.
Mm.
He's like, Matt, I wanna teach you how to fish. And I was like, Dad, we've already done this. I'm good. I don't need you to teach me how to fish in this meditation right now. I'm so good. He's like, no, no,
He
no. Come here. I want to
he
show
meant
you.
fish. He meant business fish.
Well, yeah, you already feel it.
Yeah.
So we go to the ocean. He goes, you put your hand out like this, and this gold
Mm.
rod comes out of his hand. He
Mm.
goes, and he grabbed it. And I'm, being a typical boy, typical son, I'm looking off to the horizon like, okay, cool. I want to go back and lay down on the beach, right? And then you bait it like this, Matt. All right, Dad, cool. Thanks, man. And he goes, and that's how you fish. I was like, cool, Dad. Awesome. He goes, now it's your turn.
Mm.
I was like, I'm good. He walked around me.
Mhm.
He put his hands on my shoulders, and I turned into 6-year-old Matt.
Hmm.
He goes, put your hand out, Matt. I put my hand out. This little rod comes out. He said, bait it. I said, Dad, we don't have any worms. He goes, bait it. You know how to bait it with
Mm.
wholeness, with
Mm.
love. Put your hands out. I put my hands out. This gold mist comes out of my chest. I
Mhm.
start forming this bait on this hook. And he goes, all right, cast it. Goes in the ocean, goes to the bottom of the ocean and plants.
Mm.
And he looked at me. I'll never forget it. His eyes just gleaming. He goes, now you know how to fish for people.
Mhm.
And I woke up and I just cried because I was like, holy crap, man.
Yeah.
And after that, I went through a couple ayahuasca ceremonies
Mhm.
trying to get through the pain of losing my father.
Yeah.
And then we get back to school, and then I get punched in the face again. And
Mm.
these two senior boys get hurt, their feelings hurt, and say I'm a toxic male, and say
Mm.
that I triggered their childhood trauma. I didn't yell at them, I didn't cuss at them, I didn't touch them. But they
Mhm.
saw the veins in my bicep, and they thought, oh, he's angry. And so I got suspended for 3 days.
Wow.
And then I was teaching a girl,
Mhm.
a girl that took voice lessons with me since she was 7 years old.
Mhm.
She gets up in front of the group. She's singing this song. I say, "Come here, Kate. I want you to come here. I want you to talk about and feel the strength that you have to have right now dealing with what you're dealing with your father." That's all I said.
Mhm.
She goes over. She cries. She does it. This little girl over here overhears what I said to her.
Hmm.
She sits down. This little girl goes, "Oh my God, I heard what he said to you. Did he trigger your childhood trauma?" Takes it to the administration. I get suspended for a week.
Wow.
Fast forward to this year, January, I get called in after Christmas break. They say, "Hey, we got a report that you called a kid dumb and stupid to his face in front of a teacher. And here's the email, and names are redacted.
Hmm.
We're going to have to suspend you for a week." I was like, "Holy crap, man."
Wow.
Then I was told some bogus stuff that they were trying to get rid of me. The board was in the district. It turned out to be a lie. It was not true. I
Hmm.
resigned effective at the end of the year.
Hmm.
I made it through our big show. May 2nd, I get called out of my favorite choir. We just sang Pilgrim's Hymn by Paulus.
Hmm.
My principal tells me to have a union rep. May 2nd, I go in. He says, "These two little girls said that you bullied them in class, said you targeted them." And it's this, these little papers that say that. And I was like, wow, I never even said their name. I didn't look at them. I don't know what this is. He goes, "Well, we're going to have to suspend you for the rest of the year. You're done."
God. Is it getting to the point here in schools where teachers need to start wearing body cams to protect themselves?
I wish. I told them, put a camera in my room.
Yeah.
Watch me teach. And that's the
Yeah.
other thing. They never came down and watched me teach the entire class ever,
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah.
But that was God's knockout punch.
Hmm.
And God said, "Matt, you're done. You're done with
Yeah.
public school, man." I interviewed for Arc City High School, where my wife teaches, because she really wanted me to do that. And I interviewed down there, and it didn't feel right. But
Mhm.
then this happened. I called Arc City. I said, "Take my name out of the hat. I'm done."
Yeah.
I told Megan, my assistant, "Hey, we're going all in on Voice by Matt. Let's go."
Hmm.
My goal was to get 2 clients a month
Hmm.
to pay the bills. All right. Um, I made what I made at Winfield High School a year from May 2nd to June 2nd. I did it in a month. Where we're sitting now, I've doubled it.
Yeah.
And being on this call with you, it's overwhelming when you step into your calling, that God, the universe, your
Hmm.
purpose on earth, whatever it is. But man, when you step into that and you have these moments happen like today, like these calls with these people that I can say this story because he called me, Mike. He just started with me
Hmm.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It was his dad's birthday. His dad's 78.
Hmm.
5 years ago, I called my dad out because I said, "Dad, you never say I love you, man. Ever. You never say that. Why do you not say that?" He didn't even know. He didn't even know he didn't say it, man. My grandpa, when I was in high school, committed suicide. Shot himself in the chest.
Damn.
Did he talk about his feelings? Never. Did his dad talk about his feelings?
No.
Never. Did his dad talk about his feelings? Never. My dad didn't talk about his feelings. Did he talk about my grandpa committed suicide ever with me? No. It was too painful. But I called my dad out on the phone. I said, "Hey, do, why don't you say it?" He didn't even know. And then I got to hear him say it for 2 years, Thomas. And so I told my client, Mike, that yesterday, that story. And Mike was so emotional this whole call. It was his first call with me, man. And it's all about me helping people find their voice. This guy called me when I was with my daughter in Wichita shopping. He called me and told me that he called his dad, that's 78, that he's never said these words to, and he's never heard the words said to him. He called him and he talked to him and he told him, "I love you, Dad." And his dad said, "Love you too."
That's a massive win right there for both of those men.
Yeah. And so these moments are happening, Thomas, in my life right now, that it's very, very overwhelming. Like, it's very humbling to me that I'm being used like that. by God, the universe, whatever you believe in. But even like this moment with you, I'm never going to forget these moments. This is what I signed up for. This is what my soul signed up for. This is what I'm supposed to do. Go around the world on a jet, flying all over, helping people find their voice, keep their voice, share their voice, connect their voice so that their soul can come out and say, hello. That's why I'm doing this.
Yep. So you, sir, have truly stepped into your true purpose. That's what it is, dude. It's an awesome story, and I love it. And the fact, yes, you technically just started full time on this recently, but you have a long history of doing
Oh,
it up until this point.
20
And
years.
yeah, 20 years. So you're not this overnight success because we both
No.
know that's complete bullshit. I know we got to come to an end here soon because we both have appointments after this. But one of the things here that I want to touch on, and I want to get out there for people.
Yeah.
I was going and doing some social recon on you before our call, right? And one of the things that struck me in a good way on your website was you have an event coming up in September in New York City.
Yeah. It's my first event, and it's in
And
my favorite city.
yeah, you picked a big ass city to do it in, where like I'm a born and bred New Yorker. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, really, Thomas?
Yeah. I was raised about an hour outside of New York City, and I lived there for the first 40 years of my life.
You know all about that energy there.
I do. I know all about it very well. So I just want to say congrats on you for having the balls to do it because most people don't. And when I looked at what you were doing and how you're doing it and how you have it set up and your ticket structure, dude, it looks awesome. It's super impressive. And I just want to say good for you and good for you for having the balls to go after it.
Man, thanks, Thomas. I'm excited about it because it's my first event ever. It's my
Yep.
first speaking event. And me being a teacher, it's not going to be a normal entrepreneur event.
Yeah.
It's going to be very immersive. We have 10 speakers.
Yep.
The format is 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minutes. So 5 go back to back. And then kind of like what Josh did, you're going to do a little roundtable with the speaker that was assigned to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have like Matt speaks, Thomas speaks, Josh speaks, etc. The people that sign up are going to be put into random groups, 5 of them. And so they're going to have 15 minutes with Thomas. 15 minutes is up, switch. 15
Yep.
minutes with Matt. 15 minutes is up, switch. 15 minutes with Josh. So the speech is obviously about finding your voice and how you found your voice, techniques to find your voice. We got therapists. We got a girl named Joanna that was from a fundamentalist LDS cult. It's going to talk about that and her escaping at 17. She's one of my clients.
Yeah.
She's 22 now. Allison Lager, professional therapist. You know Allison. She's amazing.
Yeah. And she's not far from the city.
That's right.
Yep.
And Josh, I think, is going to be a speaker also. And so it's a beautiful representation of the tribe and community that I built at Winfield High School. The freedom to express themselves the way they wanted to go after their dreams. That's what I'm creating now worldwide.
Yeah.
Is this community where people are going to show up and it's going to be like, man, I've known you my whole life and I'm open and I love you. I care about you. All right.
Yeah.
That's the dream. And this event, it's in Grand Central Station, 21st floor. We're going to do a little add-on event the next day. That's going to be a lot of what I talked about, the routine and hanging out with the speakers and doing some mastermind lunches and dinners. But the coolest part for me too is we're going to watch Gutenberg. It's a Broadway show with Josh Gad and Andrew Rannells. We're going to do that on the event day. And then we're going to watch Back to the Future on Saturday. So September 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
It's awesome, brother. I love it. I wish you the best of luck with that, and obviously continued success with what you got going on already. I truly, and dude, I don't bullshit people. I don't blow smoke up people's asses, and I have a tendency to say what's on top of my mind, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes it serves, sometimes it gets me in trouble.
Me too.
But I love what you're doing here. I think that there is a much higher purpose to what you're doing, possibly more so than what you even realize right now.
Man, I feel it, and that's the humbling part for me, and it's the overwhelming part, Thomas. Like, since you were a little boy, Thomas, like you've had this urge, this drive, this feeling inside of you since you were a little boy. And a lot of us in the world have that, but it gets squashed by mediocre. It gets squashed by average, like you talked about. And I became a threat to my environment because I refuse to be normal. I refuse to be average and not shine my light. And you are the same. And people that have had success, Steve Jobs, I've been talking about him a lot lately. This is the first iPhone, he died creating this. Okay. And how many people have died on their mission, creating something that was inside of them that would change the world forever? The emotion that we have inside of us is the carrier of our spirit that gets information out into the world so people can feel us and see us and interact with our spirit. And when we don't speak with the emotion and we don't live with the emotion, then that spirit can't be attached.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm with you, man. Dude, this has been awesome. I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about, what it is you're offering.
Yeah.
My initial thought looking at your website was, hey, this dude's a voice coach. Cool. How does that serve me, especially being a business professional? But now, since I've got more of the backstory and the purpose behind it, like it all clicks and makes 100% sense to me.
Thanks,
And
man.
congrats to you, man. Keep kicking ass. Keep pushing down this path.
Well,
And my only advice to you here is someone who's been in small business for 20 plus years.
yeah.
You're going to continue hitting walls and running into average. And there is a point, and I think this is okay. Some people get to a point where the average they hit, cool, this is where I want to go and I want to hit pause. That's a personal choice and there's nothing wrong with that. However, some of us are really fucking weird and nuts and continue to want more. And I've personally experienced this multiple times in my life, including right fucking now as I talk to you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. There is a level up that continues. And when you have this urge inside of you and you live true to the values and you follow what spirit tells you to do, right? You're going to lose people in your life who you never once ever imagined you would ever lose in your life.
Yeah.
And some of the closest people to you. And it sucks going through it, but it's necessary for the future best version of you.
Yeah. I feel that deeply, Thomas.
Yeah. Dude, this has been great. Where can we find you?
voicebymatt.com. You can find me on Instagram, Voice by Matt, Facebook, Matt Berthot, Voice by Matt. Like it's Voice by Matt pretty much everywhere.
Cool.
But I'm building a community of people that want to find their voice and want to share it and keep it and connect and in a real way, in a soul, spiritual, hello, this is my soul kind of way. And after the event, I can say this. We're going to have a group. We're going to launch the group after the event. We're going to call it the Vocal Order. Be looking for that. But thank you so much for your time, Thomas. You're such a good dude. You have such a big heart. And now I know how connected you are to your spirit and your soul and your mission. And I understand why you're doing what you're doing now.
Yeah. It's much deeper than just helping people on a surface level.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be.
I agree. All right, dude. This has been awesome, brother. I appreciate you. And we're going to stay connected for sure.
Oh, no doubt, dude. I'll have you on my podcast too.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast. Make sure you head over to stepitupentrepreneur.com and make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Step It Up Entrepreneur Podcast.